the way I was taught is there's family roles, there's community roles, and if you teach every kid the same thing, we're not going to rely on each other as a unit.
Good morning, Native America.
Hey, I'm Santana.
And I'm Haley.
I'm Bella.
And this is
Young and Indigenous Podcast.
And I'm here with
Connor.
Young and Indigenous Podcast is an outlet for people to know about Indigenous knowledge, storytelling, and history. Through our youthful journeys as Indigenous people, through these stories, young people and elders share their experiences with us. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do this.
About to tell some red stories. Stay tuned.
In this podcast episode, you'll get to hear the experiences of teachers and summer youth, providing cultural art opportunities for our Lummi youth, like language, beading, cedar weaving, and wool arts.
So, with my group, we're teaching Lummi language, and I think the important thing is that the students are encouraged to learn as much as they can about their culture. And when we talk about our language, that's the base, that's the foundation for our culture.
Anybody know what this is?
Blackberry.
The blackberry is called squanawnuk.
And when you stop and think about everything that our culture has, language is always involved. So these might be simple words like plants, tools, but every word that we have in Lummi language is important to our people. And I think that we really need to understand and make sure that we carry it on to the next generations. And so that's what my crew is doing today.
This is the wild rose, and it's called Coco. Coco. The wild rose. Coco. Coco.
Coco. What?
Coco.
Coco? Oh.
Coco.
Coco.
How you say it?
Coco.
Coco? I don't know. I tried.
Was it?
Coco.
Coco? Yes.
Coco.
Okay, so my name is Kiara Solomon, and I'm from Lummi, and I am one of the Oxalas. And today we learned about plants and a few traditional tools, and then we played some bingo using Clomichalsan words. And after our bingo game, we played telephone using Clomichalsan words.
Bingo.
Growing up, I wasn't exposed to my Lummi culture, so going into freshman year of high school, I took Smakia's class and picked up the language pretty quick. And I also love teaching people, and sharing our language is important because not a lot of people know the Lummi language. So.
Mountiam, Shashartio, Sanasana, Chaklamisin. Hello, my name is Shashartio. My English name is Danielle Wright, and I'm from Lummi.
Alright, just tell me why you got into language and what made you want to teach.
I got into language when I was a sophomore in high school. I didn't take it my freshman year because I didn't know about it until like later on.
You're like, oh, I like this. I want to be a part of it.
Yeah, it started with me sneaking off into his classroom
I love that.
and him making me do my introduction. And then I started working for him in the summertime when I was 16. And ever since, I've just been helping and trying my best to teach others and learn more. But it really helped me find who I am and my purpose.
I think it was just more going up to the mountains, getting the cedar, and then I joined them that way, and then I just started. I don't even know how I ended up starting doing these classes with them. I tried to just jumped in. We were doing them for like years. I think maybe like 5-6 years. And when we first started, people were calling us kind of scouts, for teaching people this. And I was like, this is a dying art, and we don't teach this. I was like, who else is going to teach us? I was like, we can't just keep it in our family. We got to, share it with the community. And I think after we start doing that, I think that, it's a sense of pride seeing these kids wearing our stuff too, I like seeing my hats go walk around. I'm Toshi Simmons. My grandparents are Ada Simmons and Ward Simmons. I come from the LeClaire, Warbis, and Simmons family.
My name's Lee Plaster. My late father is Frank Plaster. And my mother is the late Eugenia Paul Plaster. I started working with cedar way back in 79, I believe, with my mom. And go up and pull bark with her. And the rest is history.
What is it that you like about weaving and teaching to the children?
Hoping that some of these young kids will pick it up and take over, like my daughter here taking over with the construction and taking over the weaving. Somebody's got to keep it going, keep our culture going. You can't buy the bark at Walmart. You got to go harvest it. Go to your elders that know how to do it and learn how to harvest it and take care of it. Just like any other natural resource, you overuse it, then it's gone.
What are you learning?
How to make roses. I'm on my 4th one. It's getting better and better. And I'm making a whole necklace out of it.
Cool. Fifth one.
Oh, 5th, yeah, sorry. I'm on my 5th one.
You're really good at them.
Side business.
Side business.
My name is Claudia Plaster. I'm from Lummi. I do believe I started weaving when I was about 7, maybe younger. The first time I wove was with the late Anna Jefferson, I think that's her name, and Marie Hawk, and my parents, Lucy LeClaire and Lee Plaster. I made a basket for my kindergarten teacher, and
Is that long piece or no?
yeah, I make baskets, hats, graduation caps, baby hats, roses.
Wow, so you made lots of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So during this process of learning art, how did it make you feel learning from the people that taught you?
It was an honor. I got to see what they were doing. Like when I was little, I didn't understand like why are we going to the college,
Yeah.
But she sat me down and she asked me if I wanted to, like the saying is, you can learn from. Sometimes you can't learn from your parents, you can learn from others, and that's where I come from. I can learn from my parents, but it's more easier for me to learn from my aunt, uncle, kind of thing.
Now, I'm Licia Senesnat, Chukwamisan, Lutkainam Tanaman.
Huilalukla I huiaistia la sanososila. So hello to who is listening. My traditional name is Letlicia. My English name is Nancy Jefferson. My dad is Joseph Jefferson. His traditional name is Joseph Jefferson, or traditional name is Lutkanum. My grandparents are the late Leonard Jefferson and the late Marion Kelly. Their traditional names were Huilaluk and Huiaistia. So today I prepared my loom, and it was a lesson to the students that whatever work you do, you want to put good energy in, and if you are having negative thoughts, if you're thinking about drama or anything that's stressing you out, it's going to show in your work and it's going to be carried through your work. I also told them that, it's something that we should be prideful when we're doing, because this is something that somebody's going to carry with them. And typically we would make blankets out of wool, we would make shawls, we would make sashes, and we would gift them. Okay, so you left off at 1? Okay, so you're going to jump to 4 and loom it through. So bashful.
What's the next?
Got it. Here you go. Do your work.
Okay, and then you're going to lift your foot and pull this. The specific design that I had prepared today was taught to me by our late chief Bill James. His traditional name Silik. And I did talk a little bit about learning from him. He and my other teacher, Smakia, were the ones to teach me to put my good energy into my work. And I told all of those who were learning from me today a little funny story about learning from him. Is if you made a mistake, he'd kind of look and just go, And so you'd have to really look at your work and double check and see if you made a mistake. Sometimes he'd do it just for fun. I also shared that long before we had store-bought wool, we had a breed of dog called the woolly dog, which is now extinct. Okay. And that was our main resource for wool. And to dye the wool, we had, different colors. We had black. We had some we kept white. Others were a shade of red. Some were yellow. We would use plants for yellow. I believe we used like cherry bark to dye our, not just wool, but like cedar red. We used dried up horsetail water sprout is what they're also called. When they're dried up and they're black and we soak them, that would provide our dye for the black, among other things. And yeah, I don't know everything, but that is what I can recall and what information I was able to share with the students about how we traditionally would do this.
So this is the Cooperative Extension Garden. As you can see, there's a bunch of different variety of plants that are actually grown throughout this garden. And one of the first plants I just wanted to share with you is salmonberry. And this is the salmonberry plant right here. I actually only started with only one species of the salmonberry plant, and as you can see, a bunch of springlings just popped up. And so I think I counted the last time, there's 27 new salmonberry plants that I have in this garden right now.
27?
Yeah, because you can see like the little baby ones that are popping up everywhere. Yeah, it came from one plant. It came from this plant right here.
Wow.
And just because, the wind and, birds eating and pollinating and things like that, it blew everywhere and it popped up in different places. And so the salmonberry plant is right here, and during the month of June and July, it produces these very beautiful berries that are anywhere between like a light orange to a light red. And how you can tell it is a salmonberry plant is, we also call it the butterfly plant, is if you take this top leaf and you fold it down, and it's in the shape of a butterfly. And so I actually named my daughter after this plant. In our language, it's called alila, and that translates into salmonberry. And so that's what I named my daughter after. I have a calendula plant. Calendula is an amazing plant. It's actually one of the plants that we used to use a long time ago to color our foods. And also to you get that yellow dye. We dyed it like, wool and different things like that. But this is a calendula plant, and if you feel the top of the plant, you can kind of feel that it's oily. And I like to use this plant and infuse it in oil to make an herbal infused oil. And it's really good for eczema and psoriasis and different type of skin irritations. I also like to use this plant in something that's called the wildflower and calendula rescue balm. And so in that balm is actually a nuka rose and the calendula plant. One of my participants came to my class about 3 weeks ago when we did herbal first aid kits. And so we used all of our traditional plants and medicines to put together a first aid kit that we can take with us on the canoe journey or any type of journeys we go on. But she said that she just found out she tore her meniscus in her knee, and so she's going to have to get surgery, and nothing would take away the pain. But she used the wildflower and calendula rescue balm, and that was like the first time she hasn't felt any pain in her body for weeks. And so she called and thanked me to show her that there's medicine that's growing all around us, and she didn't even know about it. Yarrow, or squirrel's tail. As you can see, the flowers are white and helps coagulate your blood. So what I would do is, if I was bleeding and I wanted to stop the bleeding, I would pick up the top of these plants, and then I would kind of mash them up or break them up, because I want the cells to open up so I can get the therapeutic properties from this plant. And then I would add just a little bit of water just to kind of make like a poultice. And then I would put it where I'm bleeding at, and it would actually stop the bleeding. Fireweed. And so you'll see that growing around inside the roads. And a lot of people actually like to use this plant to infuse in honey. And so it has like a kind of like a spicy aroma. And then you have this one too. This one is mullein. So that's actually a weed that grows around in the garden. And this one? Yes, and it's fuzzy. That's called mullein plant. And different tribes use it for different ways. And so I would actually make a tea out of this plant. I would dry the leaves and make a tea out of it, or an elixir. And we use that plant especially if you had lung issues or respiratory problems, or if you had tuberculosis, you would drink that tea to help kind of soothe those symptoms and take away the symptoms for that. Like I mentioned, I was in Montana. I just got back here like at 10:50, drove all night, and I went over there and I met a couple of Indians from the Flathead Reservation, and they use the mullein tea. They use the mullein leaves to smoke. And so they said they dried up the plant and they would put it in their pipe and they would smoke the plant to help alleviate their respiratory lung problems. So each tribe uses the plant differently.
Tell me who you are and where you're from.
My name's Keani L. I'm from Lummi, but I'm also Canadian, Blackfoot, and Filipino.
So just tell me a little about beading and why'd you get into it?
I didn't start beading until I started doing Running Start approximately 2 years ago. I took a beading class as an elective, and they taught us how to make lanyards. And there are people in my family that bead, but there wasn't really anyone that was able to teach me. So after I took that class, I started going on the internet and trying to figure out how to do other things like earrings, hoops, stuff like that. And a lot of the methods and stuff I basically had to teach myself, like the beaded hoops that we were working on during the event. So with beading, when I was first taught how to bead, I thought back to like various traditional things that I wanted to learn but I couldn't, like let's say canning fish or going on the boat with my family. But so it just became very important to me. It's also become a form of self-care because for me it's really therapeutic. When I'm working on beading, I'm able to step back away from other things going on in my life and just being there, keeping myself busy, having something I could focus on instead of everything else I need to do. So it's basically taking a step back and being in my own space and having something I could work on that's productive.
I totally agree. Like our people say that we just always need to keep our hands busy, and I really like that you say that because I'm just like, they're always with us when we're doing those things, and like some of these things were almost lost, so it's good that we're giving back to the youth by providing this opportunity. How do you think beading is related to youth mental health?
Youth mental health, in my opinion, it could be the same as doing an after-school activity, maybe even sports, learning to play the piano, or something, giving someone the interest and motivation to do something and keep trying and trying and trying. And on top of that, so it's part of our culture, it's part of our history, so it kind of ties into spiritual wellness. Like, you get to have this connection with your ancestors, and you also have the knowledge and the traditional wellness to pass it on to a future generation, which is what I was trying to do when I started working for the Center for Health program.
Is there anything that you would like to say to the youth or anybody into the community about beading, or just anything that you just been through in your life and what's helped you to bring you where you are today?
I was a first-generation college student. The reason I got into the Center for Health program is because in college I'm going through care, and I've always wanted to give back to the community who've had similar struggles than what I did as a child, whether it be substance abuse, with my mom being banished, foster care system, first-generation college student. There's a number of things that would be considered setbacks, and I think that if we focus on bettering ourselves, whether it be through beading or through learning Lummi language, just plain healing, for getting a counselor, reaching out to people, then I think that would help break the cycle of intergenerational trauma. But also, when it comes to beading, don't be afraid to make your mistakes, because I've learned that with every person who beads, they are also their own biggest criticizer. And I'm guilty of it. I still do it. But it's just, if you enjoy beading and you do it not to make money, well, I guess people can do that as a part of that, but you don't just do it as a form of income, and you actually like the experience of beading, then try not to be so hard on yourself, because that personal degrading can hinder how you feel about what you actually want to do. And I'm guilty of that too. I actually stopped beading for around 6 months because I felt that I wasn't doing it right. Other people were doing different things. I didn't know how to do those things, and so I took a step back and went back at it when I was feeling more comfortable with it. And on top of that, I didn't want to have all these negative emotions affect the work that I do. So I guess what I really want to say is just don't be so hard on yourself. You're going to critique your work, but if you enjoy it, then it should be fine.
Wow, I really like that you say that. That's how I feel with the podcast. Like, I just been finally getting started on this with again. I just been doubting myself so much in it and just feel like I couldn't do it. But now that you say that, I feel like those are just words I needed to hear. I'm kind of mind blowing.
It can be applied to many different things, many different interests. Like, I keep going back to sports, but I'm going back to like possibly after school programs. I've also been working with Swinomish and Skagit and teaching the kids down there how to bead. And lately I have been bringing my own personal stuff. The kids were actually interested in it and they really wanted to do it. And even though it's like stuff I bought for my own money and we have beading stuff at the Center for Health, it's not what they wanted to do. They didn't want to do a lanyard. They wanted, the majority of the people were girls, and they wanted to learn how to do that. And so I chose to bring my own stuff down there and offered to teach them because, and I say again, I didn't have anyone to teach me in my early life. And I liked seeing the kids with a big interest in that part of their culture.
Wow, I really appreciate that. And I was just telling one of my coworkers, I was like, she like brought all her own stuff and was teaching us, you know, and it was really heartwarming that she did all of that. So I just really wanted to hear your background and story on why you were doing these things. So thank you, and I appreciate everything that you're doing for our community, and just to know that you are giving back.
Thank you.
That's really awesome.
The way I was taught is with families, there's family roles, there's community roles, and if you teach every kid the same thing, we're not going to rely on each other as a unit, and it's just not going to be as significant. Like your family, I'm assuming fishermen? Yeah. My family canned smoked fish, knitted those like gowns for like crabbe, and I chose to learn how to bead. Some people are singers, some people are dancers, some people are canoe pullers, and I think once you find what works for you and what you like to do, then you should pursue that. You don't have to learn beading. That's why it was optional. It was optional for that, because it's a skill not everyone's gonna hone. So, but it was nice to see the kids so intrigued, and make a lot of the mentors through LIBC wanting to make earrings. It was really nice to see how intrigued everyone was, and it was just a really good time.
I definitely love arts and craft like my grandma, so like once I get into that stuff, I stay busy and I get into it. So it cracks me up about you talking about the kids too, because I remember a lot of them when I did the summer youth program, and all of them were just little babies, and now they're all just teenagers, and I'm like, oh my god,
what happened to you?
I know. I'm like, you're taller than me. What the heck? But also, I'm really proud of you and all of your accomplishments, because I know from your background, you've came from a hard life, and just to see where you are, I'm really proud of you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Cultural arts. The day we spent with these youth was a really fun day. I love learning about art and language. It really makes my heart full. I've done it many times before. I always want to keep at it after I learn. I like to learn my language and keep my hands busy when I can. But playing the language games and watching all the youth learn about their culture was heartwarming. They all enjoyed it and was plenty of learning. They all were asking questions and getting to learn how to do these things. I love the beading part, being able to learn and do the things our people have done. Even bringing back things that were almost lost, just like Toshi said about weaving and teaching it to our people. It will be a dying arts if we don't teach our children and our people. I'm glad these events happen because I always feel my people with me. When I do, I know the things that we are doing are important, and I know that my people are with me through it. That helps me more with the work that I'm doing, to know that I'm doing the right thing for my people, and to know that I'm giving back. Haishka, and thank you to all the participants in this podcast episode for your knowledge and words to us and our communities who love learning about Indigenous culture. Haishka to Snakia, Kiara, and Danielle for language. Haishka to Lee, Toshi, and Claudia for weaving. Haishka to Nancy for your words and wool weaving. Haishka to Kiani for beading. Haishka to Katrina for providing this opportunity for us and letting us and come and be a part of these culture events with the youth and providing podcast opportunities for them as well. And Haishka to Anita James. Enjoy the teachings from our gifted people in our community. I hope you continue to come back and to listen to more. Haishka.
Thank you for listening to Young and Indigenous. You can follow us at YAI podcast on Facebook and Instagram.
Haishka to the First Nations Development Institute.
And the Discurrent Foundation.
Our hands go up to you.
Yay is part of Children of the Setting Sun Productions. Intro song by Keith Jefferson, Adam Lawrence, and Mark Nichols. Original music by Mark Nichols, Julie Lewis, and Shinoa Agawa.
Original music by Swill Canum. Thank you to Laura Boom for sharing your knowledge of plant medicines. Thanks to the rest of the team, Tani, Leah, and Shoreen, for this opportunity.
This podcast is brought to you by the Northwest Indian College Center for Health and the LIBC Native Connections Project, a grant funded by the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, SAMHSA 5H79 SM063454. The views, opinions, and content expressed in this podcast do not necessarily reflect the views, opinions, or policies of the Center for Substance Abuse Prevention, the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, or the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Thank you.
Please, subscribe now.
Subscribe, please, on Apple Music, Spotify, and don't forget Google Play.
Ah,